Alright guys, you know how this goes. The roadmap is going to be right here, so if you guys don't want to hear me ramble on, you guys could just click to the certain points that I do talk about the spoilers or read the spoilers itself. Now there is one thing I do want to cover before I do start reading the spoilers. The first thing is being that all the Boruto episodes will follow the same formatted schedule. I know there was a lot of people worried if we're going to change the schedule or not, because the schedule has been changing a lot recently, so there will be no schedule changes, there will be no week skip. The release dates of the next 5 episodes will follow November 11th, November 18th, November 25th, December 2nd, and December 9th. So all 7 days apart. Now with that being said, without wasting any of your time, I will talk about episode 81. I will read the spoilers in this episode, but I do want to tell you guys, I did make a whole video on different spoilers that were released by Organic Dinosaur. She basically gives us the weekly spoilers for every single episode, so I did make a video on that. I'm not going to really go into depth onto these spoilers because I already made a video on that. But without further ado, the spoilers that Spiraling Sphere gave us himself. Episode 81's title is Boruto's Wish. Going into the actual paragraph, it says, unable to bring Mitsuki back with them, Boruto, who sustained injuries, retreats with Sarada, Shikadai, and others and takes cover. However, being close to borders of other countries means that they may be attacked at any moment. For safety, Inojin and Chocho decide to investigate their surroundings. During that time, Inojin becomes attached to a strange being that is born from the earth. Around that time, the unconscious Boruto witnesses a dream in his hazy stupor. Now, there's only one thing that differs from the other spoilers that I did go over in the video that I did talk about it in, and it's the fact that they are near a lot of borders, and because they're around a lot of borders, they are going to be subject to be attacked by some shinobi. Now, there are going to be shinobi that see these guys from the Hidden Leaf Village that basically understand that they should not be crossing any borders and basically be trespassing in any other villages, which is a very huge concern for everybody else, mainly because Boruto at this point is currently unconscious. And if they do run into any people such as Jougan that want to cause any trouble, being realistic, they're only getting, and obviously the more manpower that they have, the better. And as of right now, as I said, Boruto is currently incapacitated. The link to me going over this episode spoilers is going to be in the description below. Highly recommend you guys watch that. Now the next episode, episode 82, it's called Infiltration, the village hidden in the stone. Leaving behind Inojin in case of emergency situation, Boruto and the rest aim towards the village hidden in the stone. They decide to rely on former tsuchikage Onoki, who they met at the 5 Kage meeting. As they look for where Onoki is, Boruto and his friends are spotted by a certain character as they are infiltrating into the village. On the other hand, after being unable to make contact with the scout team that was sent to the village hidden in the stone, the leading jonin of Team 7, Konohamaru, is sent after them. Alright, this is where we're starting to get into the real plot of this arc, which is very interesting. First things first, I do want to point out that Boruto and everybody else, they should be running into a character that wasn't necessarily disclosed in these spoilers. In my opinion, you guys can let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, because I really do want to hear some of you guys' theories. But in my opinion, this is definitely going to be a character or a jonin that's pretty much trying to protect the Hidden Stone Village. They're pretty much going to ask Boruto and everybody else, hey, what are you doing here? Why are you basically trespassing? Or it could just be certain shinobi that, as I spoke about in the last paragraph, they're on the borders. They could run into any jonin at this point, mainly because they're basically in no man's land as of right now. That's going to be a very scary situation for Boruto. Hopefully we do get to see a very cool action scene. Boruto possibly destroys this guy or something like that. Now, before that situation even takes place, it looks like they ran into another emergency, or the first emergency that they had, which prompted them to leave Inojin behind. Now, specifically, as you guys could tell by the paragraph, we got no information about this quote-unquote emergency. I feel like it's going to be something to do with Inojin having a connection with the Okuda. May it be the fact that Inojin is being attacked by a lot of rogue shinobi, possibly some rogue shinobi, and Inojin now has control over the Okuda, so he's having the Okuda fight this rogue person. I feel like it could possibly be a situation like that, because in the paragraph previous to this, they did say Inojin had a very good relationship with these quote-unquote people that came from the earth, which eventually seems to be the Okuda. Now, it's going to be a very smart idea to leave Inojin behind, mainly because Inojin has the means of transportation. He could travel the farthest distance within the shortest amount of time. Because he has the beast scroll, he can basically just drop a bird and fly across to wherever he wants to go. So I feel like it's going to be a very smart idea if this is the situation. But in this episode, it looks like they do have a set plan about what they are going to do. In the last episode, they didn't necessarily have a certain plan about what they're going to do. They were kind of confused. One of the biggest things that was stated in these spoilers is the fact that Konohamaru is going to be sent after Team 7, which was something that a lot of people were calling for earlier on in this arc, mainly because Konohamaru is the Jonin. If there's going to be some help that should be given, it should be Konohamaru, mainly because he knows Mitsuki, he knows Boruto, he knows Sarada, he knows exactly what their tendencies are and how they work together perfectly. So Konohamaru being sent after them makes sense. And not only that, I will continue to be saying this mainly because a lot of people do expect for Konohamaru to take over the Hokage seat after Naruto. We have to see Konohamaru prove himself, because as of right now, it looks like Konohamaru is not strong enough, he's not smart enough to end up being the next Hokage. And I really want Konohamaru to prove himself. This is going to be one of the biggest arcs in terms of how Konohamaru carries himself, and basically having the fans determine if he's suitable to be the next Hokage. Now, the next episode, episode 83, the title is Onoki's Justice. Going into the actual paragraph, it says, after Boruto and his friends finally arrive at Onoki's place, for some reason he's refusing to help them. Not only that, they are suddenly attacked by the Okuda group and someone called Ku and got split up. So they all decide to head towards the meeting areas individually. Around then, Mitsuki, who is at Hidden Stone Ninja Kokuyo's hideout, is welcomed as a friend by another Hidden Stone Ninja, Seki. Now this paragraph, I feel like it had a little bit of trouble translating it, so I do have to kind of decrypt exactly what it says. I do want to say this is not the translator's fault. It is very difficult translating from Japanese to English. So initially, the biggest part of this paragraph is going to be that Onoki refuses to help out Boruto and everybody else. In my opinion, I feel like this goes further to the point where Onoki knows that he's going to end up going against his grandson. It's basically the theory that Lord Ku is going to eventually turn out to be Onoki's grandson. I feel like Onoki understands that. He didn't necessarily figure out exactly what he wants to do in terms of fighting his grandson or fighting Kurisuchi. I feel like it's going to be a very hard internal struggle for Onoki himself, but I feel like he's going to eventually come out on the side of Kurisuchi. Now here's where some of you guys might be confused. It basically says that the Okuda had attacked Boruto and the others. In my opinion, I feel like what it means is that, hey, Boruto got attacked by the Okuda. They were forced to split up, mainly because they were attacked by the Okuda. I don't think that they would probably be able to defeat the Okuda head on, mainly because the Okuda in previous episodes were taking out whole Jonin squads. So it makes no sense for Boruto and everybody else to be 1v1ing the Okuda, which only makes sense. So the Boruto and the others might actually be retreating. In my opinion, I feel like because someone called out Ku, which is the leader of the Okuda might have just backed off, and because Boruto and everybody else were so spread apart, the next sentence says they all decide to head towards the meeting areas individually. Now the next part, I feel like this is going to be towards the end of the episode, but we're going to finally be understanding why they exactly need Mitsuki. Of course, they basically said that they need Mitsuki to have their experiments last longer in terms of their lifespan, but in my opinion, I feel like it's going to be something much greater than that. Of course, we did see the tail beast. I've always been speculating about this, but as I said, here's the meat and potatoes of the whole arc. Now the next episode, episode 84, the title is Thoughts of Onoki, Thoughts of Ku. Going into the actual paragraph, it says Boruto and friends are all heading towards the meeting point where Inojin is waiting for them separately. However, Boruto, who through a course of events is accompanying Onoki towards the meeting point, accidentally wanders into a training ground where the Hidden Stones Ninja have set up a barrier. The first thing I want to talk about is the title, and it's basically giving us the idea, or it's basically confirming that, hey, Onoki and Lord Ku, they have something in common. It's basically saying like, yeah, Lord Ku is going to eventually be the grandson of Onoki. I feel like this is just drawing more comparisons to Onoki and Lord Ku. It says thoughts of Onoki, thoughts of Ku. Now going into the actual paragraph, they didn't give us a lot of information. I feel like that's definitely on purpose. They do not want to spoil this episode. In my opinion, I feel like this episode is probably going to be a very good episode. It does say that Boruto, who through a course of events is accompanying Onoki towards the meeting point, accidentally wanders into a training ground. Now they didn't necessarily tell us the quote-unquote course of events. I feel like those quote-unquote course of events might be something very huge that basically has Boruto and Onoki splitting up. Now the next episode is episode 85, titled Heart of Stone. It says to release himself from the barrier, Boruto desperately searches for the Heart of Stone, but is unable to locate it. At that point, a member of Genbu Shinobi Trio, Sekai, again who came for Chunin examinations the other day, appears. Sekai is also at the training ground for his Heart of Stone, but is also having trouble finding it. The two cooperate with Onoki and continues the search. I really have some concerns about this episode, mainly because I feel like this is pretty much stalling the inevitable climax of this arc. Don't get me wrong, I feel like the search of the Heart of Stone might be some significant character development for Boruto, but in my opinion, I feel like there's not going to be much action in this episode, which I'm really afraid of. But that being said, the character development for Boruto might be immense in this episode. He might basically have an awakening, or he might have an idea of what exactly Mitsuki is looking for, or he might actually get some information about Boruto's eye dojutsu. It's a whole bunch of stuff in terms of the heart of stone mail, and because it's not something that's very concrete, we don't necessarily know what it is. In my opinion, I feel like it's going to be something very close to the will of stone. If you guys don't know what the will of stone is, basically similar to the will of fire in the Hidden Leaf Village, but the will of stone is basically translated to the village hidden in the stone. So in my opinion, I feel like Boruto was going through something very different, something that not a lot of Leaf Village shinobi has ever went through. I'm pretty sure probably no one has ever done this. Basically go to another village and go through their specific training. And not only that, Boruto is going to run into another shinobi that he basically knows already from the Chunin exam. If you guys don't know who the Genbu Shinobi trio is, it's basically these guys right here. But let me know what you guys think about these spoilers in the comment section below. As I said, it's going to be a very long arc, but it's been your boy Baara B, and we out.